Hey, I'm in the bath, so it's just my face. I'm in labor. I'm in labor, how exciting. So I've been having prodromal labor for 2 weeks now. The last 2 nights, I barely slept. Night before last, I was able to fall asleep at like 2 and sleep. And then the last night, I was having contractions all night and they get worse when I lay down. So I just every time I tried to sleep, my contractions would get worse. And so I couldn't sleep really. I was laying there just uncomfortable all night long. And by the time it was wake up time, because my toddler came in and jumped on my bed, which was this morning. It was not that long ago. I'm just like, where is my brain? One's coming on. I'll be back. So by this morning, I hadn't slept and I was starting to get irritated. The discomfort of them was starting to annoy me each time. And so that's how they've been different than previously, because I've had many nights of restless sleep for the last 2 weeks because of prodromal labor. But by this morning, the contractions were strong enough that I was getting annoyed with them instead of just dozing off, and trying to sleep. I was actually getting annoyed, and so that's the difference, I think. And now it's 10:45 in the morning, and they've gotten stronger in the last hour, happening every 5 minutes for about a minute each. So, and they're just strong enough that I need to breathe through them, and that's about it. And I'm feeling them in my belly this time instead of my back, which I've heard is easier, so hopefully that continues. But I'm really excited to meet my baby, and I'm really grateful for my babies, and that I'm grateful that they are allowing me to be their mom. And yeah, I hope this birth is just beautiful and peaceful, and yeah, I'm excited to be in it. It's so nice after 2 weeks of being trolled by my body. Well, it's it's been preparing, but thinking, oh, is it today? Is it today? After 2 weeks, I think it actually might be today. It feels different. It's definitely stronger. So yeah, things are happening, and my baby's coming, and I'm right where I'm meant to be. So yeah. This is my going into labor, OOTD. This is my wedding dress. Because yeah, I got married when I was this pregnant with my other child. And I'm gonna have another contraction, but they're continuing. Hello, it's me. I wanted to talk about my birth story because I have a baby now again. So I had a home birth 4 days ago. It was amazing. It was super quick and easy, relatively, for giving birth. It was easy. Giving birth is not easy, but for giving birth, it was pretty good. And you're watching birth stories in preparation for that, my best advice would be to educate yourself as much as possible so you know what's happening in your body for labor, and you know what all your options are, and you find a birth team that you trust and that makes you feel safe, and that you feel like fully confident in, and like fully like you can communicate any questions or concerns, and they'll listen to you. Before my first baby, I took a course by the Positive Birthing Company, and I think it really helped me set like a good foundation for my knowledge of labor. And yeah, I would highly recommend that for anyone who is having a baby and wants to be as educated as possible so that they can try for the best outcome. I'll be right back. So this is my second baby. My first one, I had an induction. It was 40 hours long. 39. 40, we'll go with 40. And I ended up having my first baby in the tub after 40-ish hours. I did like 2.5 hours of pushing. I had Pitocin, I had a Foley balloon, I had prostaglandin, I had all sorts of stuff to get it going. I also have that story up if you want more info on it, but it was a long, exhausting, medicated induction, like medicalized induction, and wasn't exactly what I had wanted, but it was positive, and I got to have my baby without an epidural, I got to have my baby without pain meds, I got to have a water birth, so it was great, but it was very different. So this is my second baby. I wanted to have a home birth. About 2 weeks ago, I started having prodromal labor, which if you don't know what that is, it's labor, but it doesn't turn into anything. So you get these like mild contractions that are kind of like period cramps, sometimes a little more intense, and then they stop. And then they start again the next day, and then they stop, and they like don't ramp up or really do anything except for make you kind of exhausted. They might be doing something for your body, I don't know. So I had 2 weeks of that. 2 weeks of just thinking, maybe today's today, and then it wasn't. Maybe today's the day, and then it wasn't. And 2 weeks of practicing letting go of control, practicing enjoying the moment, practicing just all of those good things instead of getting frustrated or upset that it wasn't going anywhere and I was tired and uncomfortable. So if it didn't do anything for my cervix, it can definitely be a good thing mentally to help you prepare for labor, because labor is definitely all about just relaxing into what's out of your control, which is your body, which is so crazy. I woke up and I had the contractions again. They were like slightly stronger, but not really. I thought since I had been having 2 weeks of this prodromal labor that it was going to just die down again during the day and then pick back up when I tried to sleep at night. So we had a midwife appointment 45 minutes away, and I was ready to just go to it because I was like, it's gonna die down, my body's just trolling me again. But my husband was like, I don't think we should go to your midwife appointment. So I called her and she was like, I agree, I don't think you should drive. It sounds like it might be early labor, and she said just try and rest as much as possible. I laid down, I got on the birthing ball. They were starting to get more uncomfortable. I was still like not believing it was gonna happen because I thought that it was just gonna be like the last couple weeks and they would die down, but they continued to get more uncomfortable. My midwife had me time them to see if there was like a pattern to them, to know if she should start heading over. So I timed them around like 10, I think. Timed them from like 10:30 to 12, and they had been coming every 3 to 5 minutes for 45 seconds to a minute long. And they were continuing on that path, and they had started to get stronger. So she was like, all right, I'm coming over to your house. And this is around the time when I would have been driving to my midwife appointment. So it's good that they told me not to go. When I texted her at like 12, that's when she's like, all right, I'm gonna head over. My contractions were starting to get stronger, but they still weren't bad at all. Like I was breathing through them. I wasn't even like moaning through them or anything. I was feeling really relaxed in between, like really just like chilled out in between. It was so nice. It was so nice. Just being at home. Like I took a bath in my bathtub. I was on the birth ball. I laid on my bed, you know, I was at home. I was comfortable. I had snacks, you know, I was chilling. It was easy. But they're starting to get a little stronger. Yeah, like Liam and his mom is here. They had started getting like the birth pool ready and just cleaning up the house a little bit. So I was like doing all of the early labor kind of on my own, which was great. I just was relaxing into it. At this point, my midwife arrived around 1 in the afternoon. I thought she was gonna see me and then turn around and leave, because I was just so relaxed, and it had been so easy up to this point. And I had 2 weeks of my body, of me thinking that I was going to go into labor and then not. So I was in that mindset of like, this isn't it. It's not going to happen. Yeah, so she arrived, she checked me, she checked the baby. We were all good. She just let us continue to labor. Liam was starting to help me at this point with some counter pressure. I was feeling the contractions not much in my back this time, which was honestly so nice. It was, I felt them in my stomach and my cervix. So, yeah, my husband came and helped me with some counter pressure and just continued to have contractions every few minutes. They definitely started getting stronger at this point. Where I was vocalizing through them, and the counter pressure helped a lot. And then at one point I asked for a comb to grip, which I heard can help, because I had started gripping Liam during contractions and I didn't want to hurt him, but I just needed to like grab something, and holding onto the comb really helped because I could like grip it as hard as I wanted, and I wasn't like hurting anyone else. Just each contraction, I just kind of did whatever my body wanted to do. And then my midwife suggested that I try and empty my bladder. And that was a strong contraction on the toilet. That one was not fun. I was sitting on the toilet and Liam was like there with me, and I was like, this was like the first point I started, I think, like kind of freaking out a little bit, but not really. But I was like asking him, I was like, how can I pee? Like, how can I do this? Like, how is this gonna be possible? And he was like, just relax, you can pee. And then after a contraction, I was able to pee. And then I was able to get off the toilet because that was strong sitting on the toilet. Shortly after that, I think I must have been in transition. It really didn't feel like it. I was really questioning it because I started feeling a little bit like my body was about to push, like my body was like pushing a little bit on its own. And I was feeling a little slightly vomity and like slightly shaky, and my contractions were like fairly strong at this point, but I hadn't reached the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I was like questioning, I was like, should I get in the birthing tub? Is it too early? I don't know. And so my body started pushing while I was sitting on the birth ball, like just a tiny bit during one contraction. And I think Liam suggested we go to the birth tub. But at that point, I was still just like, I'm nowhere near having this baby. So at about 2:45, I think, I got in the birth pool. And then my water broke when I got into the birth pool, and I felt him like plummet downwards. Like right when I got into the birth pool, I felt him like just plummet, like I felt his head just start coming down, and I was like, oh my gosh, Liam, he's coming like right now. I was just, I didn't even think I was in transition. I was just like, whoa, I'm pushing already. This is happening so quick. And I felt his head come down like so fast. He wasn't out yet, but I felt him move down. And I told Liam, I was like, I don't want to tear in half. And he laughed at me. He was like, you're not going to tear in half. Your body knows what it's doing. But at this point I was pushing. And he came out in 10 minutes of pushing. And it was like 4 pushes or something. And I didn't push at all. It was all my body just like doing it. And I had like no control over it because it's labor. And so I think this is the part where it was the hardest for me, because I really had to surrender to it, because I thought that I was going to rip in half. I don't know where I got this idea, but probably the feeling of a baby coming down. That's probably where I got that idea. But I was kind of like switching back and forth between like just like telling myself, just breathe into it, just relax. He's gonna come out. Like the best thing that you can do is just relax. There's no stopping your body pushing right now. Just let it happen. And then I was going between that and like, oh my God, I'm gonna tear in half. So the hardest part of this whole labor was my fear at the very end of how fast he was coming out, because he was coming out really quickly. And when I was able to just breathe into it and relax, it wasn't that bad. But then my brain was like, I'm gonna rip. And then it like switched into fear. And so that was like the scariest part, was my own kind of fear about how fast he was coming. And it's honestly just probably because I was in denial that I was even in labor until like right before he arrived. I don't know. And with my other one, I pushed for 2.5 hours, so I was not expecting the like shooting out of a baby. But anyways, that was like the hardest part, I think, was just like trying to keep calm during that, and I did. I was able to definitely, between pushes, relax, take a deep breath, and like try and switch my mindset over. So he came out after 10 minutes, after a couple pushes. He shot out of me. It was insane. I grabbed him and he's there out in the world, and I was just like absolutely in shock because my midwives had arrived 2 hours before. He was born around 3 p.m. My midwives had arrived 2 hours before. I had texted her like 3 hours before, thinking, I had texted her like the contraction timing 3 hours before, thinking like, this isn't it. She's gonna show up and gonna have to go home. And then, he arrived so fast. It was crazy. It was like so positive and so amazing. And I'd say like, I didn't even feel like I was in transition with the contractions. Like there were a few really strong ones, but they weren't like so horrible, they were doable. And like up until the very last minute where he shot out, like within 10 minutes, I still was like, oh, I've got so much time to go. Like I was so mentally prepared for a much longer labor. So it was really positive. The hardest part was definitely the pushing and just trusting that my body could do it, and like leaning into that instead of fear, which it was unexpected and it was crazy, but it was amazing. And when I did lean into the trust and my body can do it, it wasn't that bad. So the hardest part was me freaking out at the end, thinking I was gonna tear in half. It was amazing. It was crazy. I was not expecting it. It was so, like, I feel so grateful to have had such an amazing birth at home, such a healthy baby. Like, I'm so lucky. And I've had so much help this postpartum. Like, my husband's mom is visiting from England, and she's helped with my other child, and I literally I have not left my bedroom since I had him. And I feel so much better for it this time compared to the first one. I was like driving to doctor's appointments an hour away. I was like walking around. I was doing stuff. I was doing too much. And I feel so much better for resting. So like, if it's possible for you, I would highly, highly recommend spending the first 2 weeks resting. Like even just these few days of rest have made so much of a difference in like my mental health, and it's going to make a difference in my long-term recovery, and just being able to enjoy having a newborn instead of doing, it was great. I didn't even think I was in transition, which for the majority of people, it's like the hardest part. And with my last one, that's when I literally was ready to give up. I was so just out of it and over it and in so much pain. And with this one, I was like, should I go in the birth tub? Is it time yet? I didn't even think I was close to finishing, and then he was out 10 minutes later. So it was wild, but it was so good. If you are going to have a baby, you can do it. Trust your body. That's like the best advice I can give, is when you let go of that fear it becomes easier, and you're just riding the sensations instead of fearing them, because that was the worst part for me, was thinking that my body couldn't do it at the end, and being afraid that my body was going to rip in half. Even though it wasn't. But that little fear piece at the end, that was all me. It wasn't the fact that he came out so quickly. It was me worrying about it that made it a little bit harder. But amazing. Yeah, so good. I'm really, 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 really grateful for that experience, and I'm just really grateful to be where I'm at in life right now, and I wish you all the best if you are going to have a baby soon, and you can do it. And yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.